Okay, so we have a dryer that doesn't heat. It turns on, it just doesn't heat. I'm going to go through each of the steps that I use to go troubleshoot the issue. This root cause tree could be used for pretty much any dryer. This is an Admiral dryer, the same general setup as a Whirlpool or Kenmore dryer. With any dryer, before you do any work like this, you need to unplug the dryer. And if it's a gas-powered dryer later on, we'll need to shut the gas off. So we've unplugged our dryer, and now we just check to make sure that the ducting isn't clogged. If it is clogged, you should follow the ducting all the way outside of the house, and if necessary, replace the ducting itself, or just unclog it. In my case, the ducting was not clogged, so that was not the root cause. So once that happens, you kind of have to zone into the dryer itself. So we're going to be testing individual components on the back of the dryer, which include most of the thermal controls, and those are the most common things that could fail next. To get to them, you'll have to remove the back panel of the dryer. So we can take each of these 1/4-inch bolts off. We're going to start with this back panel. We can now just remove the back panel very carefully. The first thing to test is the thermal fuse, which is a small white piece that's basically the same component for almost any dryer out there. And if that's bad, you could do a continuity test and it won't beep on your multimeter. And if that's bad, you should replace the fuse. White piece with the 2 leads going into it is the thermal fuse. Pop, there goes one, and then pop, there goes another. Now we have our 2 leads removed from the fuse. These are really cheap. You can get them on Amazon, like a 10-pack for 13 bucks. To the left is a 339-2519 thermal fuse. It's a common thermal fuse for a lot of different dryers. And this is the high limit thermostat. We're going to use a standard multimeter to test both parts for continuity and for low resistance. On your multimeter you'll have several settings. We're going to use the resistance setting and we're going to use the continuity setting. First we'll check for continuity to make sure that the circuit isn't completely broken, and then we'll also check for a low resistance. Turn this to continuity mode, and it should beep if you have a continuous circuit. So we know that the fuse has continuity. That's fine. And next we'll check for resistance. We should see a relatively low reading. We'll zero the meter. So the meter itself reads around 0.2 to 0.4 ohms. And we're seeing between 0.2 and 0.4 ohms. So we're all set there. We have a continuous circuit with low resistance. So that means that the fuse is fine. Then you have to check all the other components in the back. So things like the thermostats and the thermistors, and any other electrical components that could be broken on the back, you just test quickly with continuity. So I remove them from the dryer. It's pretty easy to check them when they're still on the dryer itself. Just take your multimeter and work your way down. Next on to the thermostat. Again, we'll start with continuity first. Continuous, so that's fine. Ohms next. And a relatively low resistance on that too. Once I knew that wasn't the problem, I had to go towards the gas assembly and the ignition parts of the dryer. So this is where you're going to want to remove all gas connections and shut them off so that there's no danger of a gas leak. And then you want to swing the top of the dryer up, and then you want to open and remove the door panel. Once you do that, you have to actually remove the cylindrical tumbling cabinet and the belt that drives the cabinet. So you're basically going to remove most of the large parts of the dryer. It takes about 5 or 10 minutes to get everything off, and actually isn't very hard. So before you even remove everything, it's a good thing to see how your dryer is igniting. There's a peephole in the bottom left corner of any gas dryer for you to actually watch the ignition sequence and burn of any gas in the dryer. So take a look at that when you're trying to operate your dryer. So you turn it on, it starts spinning, and some things may or may not happen. So the first thing to look for is, after a few seconds, the glow plug igniter. The igniter got pretty hot and got pretty bright shortly after I turned the dryer on, so I knew that was okay. So if the plug igniter stays on and the gas doesn't release, and you don't hear a click, and you just see that igniter staying live, that means that the flame sensor, which senses whether the igniter is hot enough to introduce gas, that means that that's malfunctioning. So what would happen is you would keep going, your igniter would just stay on, or eventually shut off, but it would stay on for a very long time instead of clicking quickly and introducing gas once it's hot enough. So my igniter would shut off after about 15 or 20 seconds, so my flame sensor was definitely working. The last thing to check here, and this definitely didn't work on mine, was the solenoids for the gas valve. So essentially I would hear a bunch of clicks, but I wouldn't actually have gas introduced, which means that there's one of two things that could have been wrong. The gas valve itself could have been bad, or the gas valve solenoids were not responding to current and actually opening the gas valve. So I went and finally checked my gas valve solenoids for continuity. I've already removed both of the solenoids, both from their metal studs. I've left the sleeve on the 3-prong solenoid in place. There's a small sleeve on its stud. Then I just simply slid off the 2-prong solenoid. You need to remove the belt and the tumbler carefully in order to access this area of the dryer and not damage any components. You have one on the right here that has only 2 prongs and one on the left that has 3 prongs. These are faulty. The gas valve will open intermittently, or it'll open and then suddenly close, or it won't open at all. I'm going to check each of these terminals for continuity. USB cable's continuous. These two guys are continuous, but these two aren't on the small solenoid. They have a high resistivity. So each of these combinations that you could see has resistance that's too high and is non-continuous. I ordered 2 new gas valve solenoids for $8. They came very quickly and cheaply via Amazon. There's 2 clocking pins, one for each solenoid. When you're replacing the solenoids, be sure to line up the metal bracket that's part of the gas valve assembly with the respective clocking pins on the solenoids. If you don't have the solenoid seated properly, you might not get correct operation. Just be extra careful when you're putting the bracket back on that everything is clocked to the 2 pins. When you replace the belt tensioner pulley have a loop through it and are back around over the motor itself. You should have the 2 bottom feet clipped into a small slot on the dryer floor. Be sure to have it in the exact same order when you're putting it back together. Be sure to clip the door clip back in the exact same way that you had it when you took it apart. You could attach the rest of the door using your socket and just tighten everything back up. And then finally, put everything back together in the reverse order. So that includes the screws near the lint screen and the panel screws as well. Once you're finished with the whole job, you should turn the dryer on and then look through the peephole. The peephole is in the bottom left of the dryer. Shortly after you turn the dryer on, the igniter should start to glow. Once the glowing has reached a certain amount, there will be a click where the gas valve opens and the igniter starts to turn off, and you get a steady stream of blue flame. There are many different root causes here. You should run through this same fault tree, and hopefully you'll be able to solve your issue. If you found this tutorial helpful, please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching.